Well, hi guys. It's March the 16th, Wednesday, and I've gotten myself into a little project today. 1850, since I've had it, the one arm, lift arm, was kind of didn't want to turn. The threads, were fine, zip and a crank. Well, Harry had said there is a pin or a key in it that can shear and it'll do wonky things. Well, I took it apart. This is what I found. The teeth are broke off the gear and off the main gear, as well as having several other teeth broken out of it. So, went down to McHenry's, see if they had such a creature. Well, they did, in this one. Now the yoke, this part of the other one, was this long, plus it had the cast came down and there was a hole here. That wasn't going to work. So I figured, well, we took that off mine, which is this one, to put on here. And it was while we had it in the vise and discovered the shaft is longer here to the thread than it is here. So, in order to use this shaft and this assembly, which from the base here to the pinhole, here to here, this is a 1/2 inch taller, which adds to the length. And the lift arms with them all the way down on the tractor are like that, about 10 inches off the ground, which that arm right there is adjusted just about all the way down, meaning the top is screwed all the way down. So making them longer may cause a bigger problem. So while I was at McHenry's, he looked these gears up. No longer available. It is what it is. But he had this one. And doing some measuring and looking, counting, I think if I were to pull this pin out, pull this off, and get these nuts off of here, drive that pin out, and drive this out, and then take this nut off, which this gear is actually loose on that shaft. I may be able to put this gear on this shaft and use at least this gear on that arm, or maybe that one. I don't know. But it's about 6 o'clock. I think I'm going to put everything up for the night. The tractor this came off of, they had painted it. And all this was caked onto here, and they painted right over the grease. Like so. But tomorrow I'm going to see if I can get all this apart. the pin here, well here, this hole, as you can see, is kind of egg-shaped, and the pin kind of wallers in it. Well, mine's good and tight. This is, well, less than ideal. The pressed steel bottom, that hole is really wallered out to fit, you know, this. Now, it could put a washer, braze a washer into it and onto it, and kind of close that gap up, make it fit better. Or you know, that's about all I'm going to do unless I get this. Can somebody find somebody that can rethread this left hand farther up and cut a piece of it off? But I think my best bet is to use this assembly and put that gear and that gear onto this. That would be my best guess of what to do. This pin is frozen into here. It will move, but the Carter key that goes through it is broke. So, as I said, this is kind of egg-shaped. Never seen one do that before, but always the first time. And I know that one's good and tight. So it's kind of in a find the best parts for what I got kind of deal. And I don't know if this one handle, this thing sticks. If I could re-drill put another hole in it, if it would be long enough to use on that. It's kind of I won't know until I get it taken apart. So that's tomorrow's job. I've got someplace I got to go tonight, so I'm going to call it a day, get home, get cleaned up, and get moving. So we'll see you next time, guys. And as always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Just love it when parts are no longer available and you got to make something work. See you next time, guys. Oh, hi, guys. It is Saturday the 19th of March. Mr. Hawk, Mr. Buzzard's not happy Mr. Hawk is there. He's having some roadkill. This is a continuation of first part of the video on the lift arm for the 1850. This one's bad. There's like 10 teeth on this gear that are just gone. And you can see there's a bunch. There's some here, a bunch here, here. I went to McHenry's. They called their sources. These are no longer available. But he had one of these arms off an 1850 sitting there. Now, this is the old style that's pressed steel, sheet metal bottom. The one I got is the heavy duty version. That is cast with a cast bottom, a little bit newer. Problem is, the difference between that and the old one, I should have picked this up, brought it with me. there's a couple of inches difference in these. You got about 3.5, 4 inches unthreaded here, where you've got twice, well, 5, 6 inches on that one. It is what it is. I bought the whole adjusting arm. I didn't need that bottom because it was different. The bottom was longer, and it had another hole here in this part of the arm. That wasn't going to work. So I took everything apart, cleaned it up, put it back together, greased it, and it works. And I got to this one. This arm was stuck, naturally, from years and years and years of not being moved. So I had to heat it up and put the fire wrench to it, and then put the pipe wrench to it, and it started moving. When it started moving, it moved real easy, naturally. But I got it all cleaned up, all greased up. Pins are greased, both sides. The arms both take grease now. And it's good. I had to run this one down about 2 inches on here, and the measurement from pin to pin is now the same on both sides. That arm is almost all the way up. There's about 2 turns more it can go up. But I adjusted it 2 turns down and matched this side to that. That gives me that little bit of extra leeway. The arm itself, all the way to the end. So that's how much adjustment I got to lower this side. I hope I don't need that much, but after getting that done, I decided get the lawnmower out of there and get the quick hitch and get it put on. And brother, I'm here to tell you, that's a job to do by yourself. Whew! Talk about discombobulation. Wow! But it's on there now, and I foresee a problem with my hoses, hydraulic hoses. Because if this is all the way down, when it comes all the way up, it may be up here. I'll make hoses do this. So might have to do some modification to it. I wonder if I can get that thing over that. Probably not. Probably have to get a piece of wire, put it to that. It's hard to believe those are original pieces of rope from when this thing was new, because they're literally got wire holding it together. I only did that from the factory that I know of. But it's on there, and I'm going to be doing some work to this. I've put a new sending unit in the temperature probe. I ran a piece of wire from the probe up to the gauge. The gauge is good. As far as we know, the probe's good now because it's been replaced. But I'm not getting a temperature reading. And when I had this thing apart a couple of times, I thought about pulling the thermostat. And I called around to get a thermostat, and nobody had one, so I kept putting it off, and I found out they're like $90. I was like, holy crap. But I didn't fool with it. Now, I've worked this thing and worked it hard, and the temperature never really comes up, and I'm beginning to believe it doesn't have a thermostat in it. So I'm going to have to pull it apart, like it or not. And there is a surprise coming for this. And it's not the one sitting over there. I found another cap. And I'm going to be putting it on here. Because it's time to get out of the weather, you might say. And I wanted to get this speed hitch on because I've got equipment I need to move 3-point. And if you have to get into weeds to move stuff around, especially by yourself, you know how handy this little item can be. If you want to hook up a set of semi-mount plows, this makes it really easy to do. Otherwise, hooking 3-point equipment up by yourself is a challenge to start with, but the Olivers make it a little more tedious, you might say. I could have robbed this one. That's basically the same arm, upper arm. Yeah. That upper arm and them upper arms look to be the same. Well, I could have snagged those. Yeah, right. But at any rate, that right now is as low as it goes. So that'll make help hooking equipment up. I don't know how high it's going to raise now. Means it's 2 inches lower than it was. So it'll affect the height a little bit, but this has got to be better than what it was. I never mentioned this, but while Harry had this part, he put that new fiber disc in there for the 3-point. The old one was hard as a rock and about half missing. And when he took it loose and touched it, it just kind of fell apart. But that got done when he put the new hydraulic pump in it. This girl, I don't know if I'm going to do it here or take it to McHenry's, but the injector pump is coming off and she's getting new injector tips because pump leaks, injector pump leaks fluid, fuel. Seals are bad in it, and well, it's 50 years old. It needs to be rebuilt. Rubber doesn't last forever. I got some work to do to this thing because this arm going across where everything hooks to is really wore out. As you can see in those pins. But I so happen to have a brand spanking new one right there. Only problem is, and I never dreamed of this being a problem, but put this bucket together. I made it fit this. Okay? And it fit really good. I mean, it was real easy. But as you can kind of see down through there, it's bent. It's bent this way a little bit. And you come over here, and it's bent out. That bracket in there will not fit on this bucket or the pallet forks. It's just like 1/8 of an inch too wide. So I'm going to have to cut it, probably in the middle, put it back together and weld it up to use it on here. The other thing I got to do, that bar needs to come off. It needs to be replaced because it's cracking on the outside of where we welded it. And it's just, that is a weak point on this machine. Because it's not one piece of steel, it's welded together out of 2 pieces. You see that crack running down that arm right there by the weld. And it's doing the same thing over here. So I'm going to come up with something better and do a little research, because I think I'm going to run a plate, whatever I do, out on the front to the arm. I may even go all the way over to the other side of it to plate it and weld. But the back side is thicker than the top. It's like 2 inches on top and 4 inches on the bottom, made in a wedge. And it's made that way so that can go down farther. So it's going to take a little bit to fix it. But I think I'm going to call it. I've been up here about 7 hours getting this all fixed and done and greased and unstuckified and greased up and movable and everything put back together, and getting that put on it. I've been wanting that for a long time. I'm telling you, I've wanted them for about 30 years and I never could get one bought. Go to a sale and try to buy one, and it just wasn't happening. I couldn't make it happen. Just couldn't do it. Couldn't buy it. Because I wasn't given $200 for one. That one was cheap enough. And by the looks of it, it's been used, but it hasn't been used a lot. And it looks like it's been sitting in the barn, because it's original paint and decals, and still has the original handles on it. So odds are it's limited use. But at any rate, guys, I'm going to call it a day. We'll see you next time. And as always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. I get done. That's got a new injector pump. This one's rebuilt this one will be rebuilt. That leaves me the 1550 diesel back there, the utility, and it needs to have the same thing done. It's leaking fuel. But it's on the back burner, you might say. That's when I got time to work on it and got the money to work on it kind of deal. It's low on the priority list. Oh yeah, I got to take the seat off the lawn, and I've got a set of seat rails to put on it now to adjust the seat back and forth. Woohoo! Well, I like that. And I'm still looking for an airbag or something for the suspension on this thing, because that's a killer. Seat has no suspension to it right now because there's supposed to be an airbag under the seat, and it's missing. So, yeah, got to get that fixed. And like I said, she got a brand new injector pump, not a rebuilt, a brand spanking new pump from Zetter. 1850 is completely rebuilt. This one's got to be rebuilt because it's just leaking everywhere. And there's no sense trying to put a few seals in it. It needs a rebuild, because I'm betting that rubberish plastic gear disc inside is not in too good a shape either. But we'll see you next time, guys. And as always, please comment. Well, we'll see you next time, guys. And as always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Hit that like button and ring that bell for notifications. It's springtime, and I'm starting to get at it again. So we'll see you next time, guys.